What is going on? What is going on? So, part 3 of the analysis of my hero, one of my personal heroes, sorry, I don't have many heroes. One of my personal heroes, Aldous Huxley, one of the greatest British authors of this modern world, of this time. We're analyzing his book, Adonis and the Alphabet, more specifically, the appendix chapter, which has to do with sexual continence. This is what Sombra's about. So, of course, like I said, like, comment, subscribe. Let's get right into it. In the last part, we sort of went over Noyes's community that he sort of established when he followed like the sort of ways of Jesus Christ, right? Where he just went around, got disciples, and basically preached about sexual continence to men. And we read a couple of the personal accounts and personal opinions about men that were on this practice back in 1844. Crazy. So let's continue. We got a lot of stuff that we have to go into. So this is a continued opinion from Noyes, right, on why sexual continence is important in men. Furthermore, in a society trained in these principles, amount of intercourse will have its place among the fine arts. Indeed, it will take rank above music, painting, sculpture, etc., for it combines the charms and benefits of them all. I mean, the thing about Noyes is that he's not thought outside of the box yet. He hasn't sort of looked at reality for what it is. Sombra, thank goodness you guys have me as not a proctor, but like sort of a experienced individual to tell you about life. So what life is ultimately a trap for souls. What you do with the act of lust is that you conceive a physical body, and in that physical body comes a soul from whatever ascended place that soul was in, trapping that soul here in this finite plane where they're subject to physical, mental, emotional trauma, and probably spiritual trauma in the form of some scars due to the horrible actions that they may or may not be forced to commit here due to the actions of the individuals around them that may have prompted those actions. Condemning the soul after death in this finite reality into a situation worse than being here itself. This is the problem. I don't think Noyes has saw this yet. He sought to try to utilize semen retention in order to better the world. Bettering the world is good. I am all about teaching more men to get on semen retention. That's wonderful. The problem is that men should not have to consign to the ideas of this world, especially on semen retention. We do not have to make children. There's way too many kids out here anyway. There are many kids that are orphans, right? Why do we need to bring more souls into this world that's fading and horrible anyway? The air is bad. People are not, if God forbid that you are a great person, a good, moral, compassionate person that cares about their fellow man, you will get destroyed by the individuals here. You'll be taught incorrectly, and you will learn to prioritize things that are not important and lose yourself. This is the issue. Villains from cartoons and comic books and stories alike, they are not born. They are created by the circumstances of being in this physical reality, which cuts down and destroys souls. That's the long, the tall, and the short. Us men on semen retention, please stop thinking about propagating. Stop thinking about sleeping with women. Stop thinking about doing silliness, right? If you want to do that, that's cool. That's what you choose to do. Me, and what I choose to, how I preach about my practice with semen retention is staying with myself, right? Not bringing kids into the world, not trying to get involved in the many systems that this world uses to imprison you, right? I'm trying to just go through this without any karma, without much karma, and trying to advance and help as many people as I can on the journey. Let's continue. This is the problem. I think Noyes doesn't believe this. There is as much room for cultivation of taste and skill in this department as in any. And this is not all. Sexual love is a cognitive act, as we know, in addition to the physical. We speak, or at least we used to speak, of carnal knowledge. This knowledge is of a kind that can be deepened indefinitely. To a true heart, one that appreciates God, the same woman is an endless mystery. And this necessarily flows from the first admission that God is unfathomable in the depths of knowledge and wisdom. Male continence transforms the sexual act into a prolonged exchange of social magnetism. Exactly. So you're not being, I guess maybe that's what he means. No, he doesn't. He actually, when he talks about polygamy, he talks about actually being, sleeping with a lot of people. What he also talks about here is that foregoing the sexual act makes you just like a magnet to many individuals, many souls, many disparate lives, seemingly disparate lives, when they're all connected by that single thread, that makes them a hive mind. The hive mind that is influenceable by individuals that are very, very powerful in dark arts and understand the ways of God and the devil and the demons of Solomon. And they use these things in order to influence that hive mind in order to sort of rebel against the individuals of light, like myself and other people all around this place. And this prolonged exchange makes possible an ever deepening knowledge of the mystery of human nature, that mystery which merges ultimately and becomes one with the mystery of life itself. Noyes' conception of the sexual act as at once a religious sacrament, a mode of mystical knowledge, and a civilizing social discipline has its counterpart in Tantra. This is Aldous Huxley now talking about Noyes' idea of sexual continence. In the 27th chapter of Sir John Woodruff's Shakti and Shakta, the interested reader will find a brief account of the tantric sexual ritual. I don't believe in Tantra. The Tantra is the same thing as edging. You are committing that act of sexual union, but because you are committing the physical act, you are going to spill. Like you're going to produce sperm, and then sperm has to get out of your body. You can't return it into the gross product. So this is the problem. But let's see what they have to say about Tantra. Nothing in natural function is low or impure to the mind, which it recognizes it as Shakti and the working of Shakti. All right, this is interesting now. I'm trying to get into it. It is the ignorant and, in a true sense, vulgar mind which regards any natural function as low or coarse. The action in this case is seen in the light of the inner vulgarity of the mind. Once the reality of the world as grounded in the absolute is established, the body seems to be in a less of an obstacle to freedom, for it is a form of that self-same absolute. Ain't that interesting? So do you hear what they're talking about here? They're saying, which I sort of believe. I'm going to give my explanation of my opinion the moment I explain what this guy is saying here. So what he's saying is that once you understand the objective reality of things, of the world, as the world is, right? As life is, as the objective functions in life are, then the body is less of an obstacle, is not more, all the wantings and the desires of the body and the emotions of the body are going to be like a prison to you. They're not going to be very heavy like gravity. Semen retention helps with getting to that point. You stay on the practice of assuming, remember, you're on the practice for months. This is what I'm saying. This is automatic. You're on the practice for months. Once you stay on that practice for a long time, you then get closer. And I said this years ago. I just didn't record it. That's it. The moment when you're on celibacy for a long time, you get to realize what objective reality really is. It's not about the propagation of the species. It's not about creating innovative works that enslave mankind to continue propagating into this lame physical reality. It is to ascend and create innovative products and devices and mindsets and groups of thought to cause people to shun this reality and ascend to go somewhere else and do the same thing to that reality. I don't know if that's an act or some sort of violent act against the creator or maybe the demiurge. If it is the demiurge, then I'm all for the war, trust me. If it's for the monad, then I don't know. This is just the truth I've come to. He talks more about Tantra, which I don't agree with. Then he brings up the Gnostics. The Gnostics in the first centuries of our era, the Cathars in the early Middle Ages, and the Adamites, or brethren and sisters of the free spirit from the later 13th century onwards. In his monograph on the millennium of Hieronymus Bosch, Wilhelm Franger has brought together much interesting material on the Adamites. There's so many groups of individuals that we have no idea about. Like, who the hell what are the Adamites? Literally like Adam as in like the original man. Mites. They practice, we learn, a modum specialem coendi, a special form of intercourse which was identical with Noyes' male continence, or the coitus reservatus permitted by Roman Catholic casuists. This kind of sexual intercourse, they declared, was known to Adam before the fall and was one of the constituents of paradise. It was a sacramental act of charity and at the same time of mystical cognition, and as such was called by the brethren Aclevitas, the upward path. According to, this is so much, according to Aegidius Cantor, the leader of the Flemish Adamites in the first years of the 15th century, the natural sexual act can take place in such a manner that is equal in value to a prayer in the sight of God. Okay, this here, I think they're sort of hollowing the act of sex, when not even when you're, you know, releasing, but it's like just the act of sex itself, especially when you, you know, you do the coitus reservatus or the coitus interruptus, right? Which is just, you know, not releasing. At the end of the day, this is the future, it's 2024. Sombra has his points of view on sex and reality as a whole. We're not even supposed to be doing that if you're trying to ascend, if you are trying to become more powerful and get the true fruits that come from the labor of the sexual recension practice. These guys are all very knowledgeable, powerful, very spiritual men. I give you all my glory. At the end of the day, we're not supposed to be edging. They're advocating for edging. We're not supposed to be doing that. We're not supposed to be sleeping with women unless you're trying to propagate, which in my opinion, I don't think we should be doing that because this world is sort of, it's sort of condemned anyway. This place sort of sucks. Smart men and the Adamites sound very, very mystical and powerful. At the end of the day, it's about, they are advocating for sex still, the physical act. And I, for one, am not about that. But we're gonna stop here. This is the end of the third part. Like, comment, subscribe, of course. Share the video with some peers. It's so interesting. We're like in the middle of nowhere. I speak passionately, of course. And the moment that I speak passionately, people are like trying to interrupt it. It's so interesting. But Sombra's not gonna let the world get him down because it was already preordained that I would do this. It was already preordained that I would probably get interrupted. And it was already preordained that I still have to find some way to get the message out. So whatever, we gotta keep doing it. We're gonna stay radiant and you guys stay radiant too. I'll see you guys in the next part.